Hello guys, welcome. This is Deepika from mytutorialrack.com, and in this tutorial I want to explain in depth what happens when an MCP is configured within Cursor and how the commands do run with MCP configured and without MCP configured. Okay, so there is a slight difference, and I've also told you earlier that when you don't have MCP server configured, the commands are run in the terminal as shell commands, whereas if an MCP server is configured, then all the commands run through the MCP server and they are run as TypeScript commands, which are much more safer. And the result that you get by running the MCP commands, it is going to be in a proper JSON format, whereas when you're running those shell commands, when the cursor run it as shell commands, the response is going to be plain old simple text. Okay, so let me go over to Cursor, and I have added here under the classes a simple Apex class. The name of the Apex class is called Hello World Service. Okay, very simple Hello World Service class. It has one static method called getGreeting in it, and it takes in one parameter of the type name. And if the name is not present, it is going to return you this: hello guest, welcome to Salesforce. If you are passing in the name in the method, then it is going to return you a greeting saying hello, whatever the name you have passed. If you have passed Deepika, then it'll say hello Deepika, welcome to Salesforce. It's simple method. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how Cursor acts or behaves when MCP servers are disabled. So in order to disable the MCP server, I will go over to the settings, go over to the MCP, and just make it, if it's green, you turn it off. And all you need to turn off is the Salesforce DX, okay, because that is the MCP server that it will use based on the commands that I'm going to ask. Okay, so if I say deploy this code to my org, to my Salesforce org, this is the command I am writing inside of the chat. Okay, and this is the class it is going to deploy. Okay, deploy this code to my Salesforce org. I have this code open, and all I said command is this. Now what it is going to respond, okay, and how it is going to respond. So this is the output. I'll help you deploy your Salesforce code to your org. Let me first examine the code structure. So it is understanding your thing. And this is the response. Run the command. You can see here CD. And this is the command it is running. And you're clicking on the run button. So this is the command. It is not using the MCP DX server. Okay, do you want me to run this command? Keep on running the second command here. And it was going to basically deploy your Hello World class onto your org. Great, you already have an authenticated org. And then I'm just going to click on run. So these commands, basically Cursor is running these commands in the terminal. These are running as shell commands. Nowhere it is asking the MCP server because you have disabled the MCP server. And the response that you see here is this is the response that is coming from. Okay, and it understood that this is the file. Let me verify the deployment was successful. Click run, and it is deploying everything for you. This is the response it gave, and execution finished, successful deployment. So it worked fine. Okay, and this is the response. Now the same thing I'm going to ask. I'm going to make changes. I'm going to change it to high. So there is a change in the code. And right now, instead of disabling the Salesforce DX, I'm going to enable it. Okay. And what I'm going to say the same thing: deploy this code to my Salesforce org using MCP, Salesforce MCP. Okay. This is what I'm going to say. You don't have to say it, but I'm just explicitly saying it. So it uses my Salesforce MCP DX server. Okay, and now check out the response. The response will be slightly different. Behind the scene, it is doing the same exact thing, right? It is deploying the code to the org, but you can see here, deploy code using Salesforce MCP DX. Okay, that is what you are seeing. It is calling SF get username. I'm going to run this. And the response that came is in this format. Target conf, it's in JSON format. Okay, and this is the path. I'm again running this. And this is your username directory. So these are the parameters it is passing. And this is the result that came in. Over there, everything was in the text format. Over here, you get a JSON response. Okay, so this is how the MCP runs and the commands in shell runs. So what is the difference here? Let me explain to you. with or without MCP. So how deployment happens. Without MCP, the cursor will run the Salesforce CLI commands directly in the terminal. With the MCP, cursor will talk to the Salesforce DX MCP server, which exposes the official tools like deploy, test, and query. So these tools will be available and it will use the Salesforce DX MCP server to get the work done. The format of the result, this is going to be a simple raw terminal text logs file. Here it is going to be a JSON response. You can interpret that response and summarize it for you. Okay, it's a structured results will be there. Approval step, no explicit approval command, just runs in the terminal. Here always shows proposed action. You can either approve it or deny it. Okay, so you can set up, hey, do you want to approve this action? Do you want to deny that? You will see this approve and deny once we start using cursor more. Error handling, errors will show as a plain text. You will parse them yourself. Here the errors are going to be structured and easier for cursor to explain or auto fix. So cursor can see those errors and can automatically fix those errors for you as well if you have configured an MCP server. Context awareness, cursor doesn't know what happened, it just sees the logs. Okay, whereas cursor understands the tool response and can reason about the next steps. So it can figure out the next steps as well. Security, less control, commands execute directly. Here it is much more safer. Cursor only runs what you approve, nothing hidden. Okay. Best for if you have a quick solo dev work, you will use without MCP, but if you are working on a team project, teaching critical deployments, then you're going to use MCP. More safer, better response, and also you're not running the commands as a shell commands, you're doing it as TypeScript command, which is much more better, and you're using behind the scenes Salesforce DX MCP server. Okay, I hope this is crystal clear. I'm going to see you in the next video. Thank you.